Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 8 of the Crash Pad Podcast. I am your host, as always, Tyler Crash, and today I have an incredible interview for you with one of my good brothers, one of the true warriors and absolute just genuine human beings in this business today, and that's Saieve Al Sabah. As you'll hear in the interview, he's all about educating young minds, and he preaches you can do whatever you want, and he's all about himself and his ideas and presenting this and giving hope to the young kids, which is absolutely incredible. I love it 100%. And before I even get to the interview, I'm going to take a page out of Saieve's book and try to educate some people right now. For those of you who do not know me on a personal level, I am in recovery from addiction. I'm an alcoholic, and it's been a struggle of mine pretty much since I was born. I've been an addict, but since the day I first picked up a drink. I recently had a very good friend of mine pass away due to a heroin overdose. We lost touch, but we were very close for a very important time in my life, and him and I started the journey of recovery together, and for some reason God has kept me here and taken him, but God has his plans for a reason. And I just want to touch on addiction, more specifically the heroin epidemic that's going on right now in this country. And I just want to let anyone out there know that if you're struggling with addiction, if you know somebody who's struggling with addiction, have family, kids, husband, wife, whatever, you can always reach out to me personally on my personal Facebook page, Tyler Crash, if you want help or if you just need somebody to talk to about it, because it's a very tough thing to go through. Addiction tears apart not only the addict, but the family of the addict. So I'm there for the addict. I'm there for the family. I can reach out to my people and hopefully get the addict some help if they're willing to. We can try to save everybody all that we want, but they need to want to save themselves. So I'm gonna touch a little bit on my recovery process. Just give you guys a little backstory. I'm not a 12-step guy. It was never my thing, but I found spirituality, found a higher power of my own understanding, and that's what really changed my life. And the book, The Secret, about the power of positivity, I found that through a podcast, actually. Ryback was on Talk Is Jericho and spoke about how The Secret changed his life. Luke Gallows introduced it to him, and I was on my plane ride to rehab. Yes, Tyler Crash, myself, I went to rehab for my addiction and got the help I needed. And so I was on this plane ride flying into Boston and listening to Ryback on Talk Is Jericho, and I hear about this book, The Secret, and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then, lo and behold, I get to my rehab, and the first group I have is about the power of positivity and changing your mind, and they mentioned the book, The Secret, and I was like, something clicked. Right away, I got very lucky in my journey to recovery. I've had a few slips, up and downs, we all do. As human beings, not even just addicts, as human beings, we have up and downs and we have slip-ups where we do things we don't necessarily deem the greatest. But right away, I got very lucky, and it clicked in my head. I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to get sober. I'm meant to, take this path, take this journey, and do this in my life right now. And I looked at that as even before I had my understanding of my God, and I say God just as a word to help everybody comprehend. It's not necessarily meaning the Christian God or yada yada. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into religion with y'all, but I had that moment where even before I had my understanding of my higher power, I knew it was a God moment. The fact that both of these important moments in my life intertwined with The Secret. So I dove more into the power of positivity, and I did my time in in rehab, and then I moved down to Delray Beach, Florida, and attended an aftercare program for 3 more months and continued working on myself. And it was honestly the greatest decision I ever made. Not only did it get me to Florida, where I am happily residing now and calling my home, and it is my home. This is where I've always been meant to be, and I know that in my heart. But it introduced me to a lot of great people and introduced me to me. It helped me overcome a lot of the issues. I still work hard on a lot of the issues, and I still have some lingering, but it helped me overcome a lot of the issues and come to terms with a lot of things and work on myself truly. So I'm doing this episode in memoriam of my friend. We were like brothers for a short time, and at a time in my life when I was most vulnerable. And he was my roommate in Halfway. We went to the same treatment center up in Massachusetts, flew down here. He got to here the day after I did down in Florida, and we moved in the same Halfway. He was my roommate. We were like brothers for a short time, and, I'm going to miss him. And this episode is in memoriam, in memory of him. Sorry if I'm stumbling over my words a little bit. I'm trying not to get too emotional on y'all. But, he passed away recently of a heroin overdose 2 days after his child was born, his first child. And that's a common thing in addiction, It doesn't always have to be that life is down on us. We are in the lowest points and our lowest of lows. We could be in our happiest moments and think one last time to celebrate, or I'll only do it on the weekends, or so on and so forth. I find many, many different ways, and every addict in general finds many, many different ways to give reasoning to using. And it's a struggle. It's a constant struggle, and it's constant work on yourself. And like I said earlier, if anyone is out there is sick and tired of being sick and tired, or knows anyone who is sick and needs help, because it is a sickness, it is a disease. I don't care what you people say. You can argue with me all day long. There's scientific backing and proof to the fact that this is a disease. Addiction is a disease. So if you have anyone out there who is sick and needs help, contact me. I will try my damnedest to get them hooked up with the people that I know and get them the help that they deserve, because everyone deserves help and everyone is worth help. So, I'm over my little addiction tirade. Like I said, contact me on my personal Facebook page or on the Crash Pad, Tyler Crash or the Crash Pad. So, let's dive right into this awesome, incredible interview with a very great individual, not only as a wrestler who is on the rise, but as a human being who's just so wise. So, here, without further ado, Saieve Al Sabah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here I have a good brother, Saieve Al Sabah. Saieve, how you doing?
How does it look like I'm doing? Doesn't it look like I'm doing good? Doesn't it look like I am doing great? Now, you just introduced me, but I don't think you introduced me the way the Honorable Saieve Al Sabah should be introduced. So allow me the honor of humbly educating your fans of who it is that I am. The design of a higher conscious, the Honorable Saieve Al Sabah, the child of the 8th day.
See, I couldn't have done that introduction any better than yourself. There's no way.
Nobody can do it the way I do it.
Speaking of nobody doing it the way that you do it, I've been a fan of yours since day one. Every time I see you, you have more moves that are just out of the box. You're getting better every time I see you, and you're all over the place right now. Let's talk about what you got going on at various places: ACW, Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling, Go Wrestle. Go ahead.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for being a fan, and I'm a fan of yours too. Every time I see you, it's nothing but love, and that's since day one, before you even see me work and before I even seen you work, and I appreciate that, and I say thank you for that. I'm everywhere, man. There's not a place on this earth that I won't be, because I came here to conquer the world. So if you see me at Full Throttle Professional Wrestling, you see me at ACW, you see me at Go Wrestle Tampa Bay Pro, it doesn't really matter. I'm going up there, I'm going up north, I'm at PWA. It doesn't matter. I've been everywhere, and every single time I go out there, I came here to change the game, change the world, because that's my initiative, to change the world. Those are my vast interests.
And about changing the world, the revolution, and everything like that. It right now it very much seems race oriented. Is that what it's all about? Is there more to it? Kind of give a little explanation to the people that don't understand fully what it's all about.
It's never been about race, and I'm not sure why anyone would think it's about race unless they themselves have something in their subconscious about race. When I go out there, I can understand when someone says, I say I'm young, black, and gifted. Now, the fact that me saying I'm young doesn't offend them, I don't understand. The fact that I say I'm gifted doesn't offend them, makes me think a certain way about them. But the fact that I say I'm black, that's offensive for some reason. Because I see people go out there. They go out there and they say they're an American. People cheer them. I see luchadors running around. They say that they're Mexicans and they cheer them. I say I'm black, and for some reason we equate that to violence. What's wrong with me? Or is it them? I'm just putting up a mirror, brother. I'm young, black, and gifted. And if one of those three things offend you, it happens to be that I'm black, it's not about race for me. It's about changing the world and inspiring young minds.
Dude, I don't even know what to say to that. You have such a mind for this business and who you are, and such a vision for the revolution and yourself. So you're involved in big things right now with ACW as well as Go Wrestle, and things are starting to happen at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling with the revolution. I saw you there as I do commentary there. You were ringside for a match recently and scoping things out a little bit, maybe seeking some upcoming talent.
Absolutely.
And so let's get away from the action a little bit. Let's talk about your training, who you trained with, what that was like, and what that experience was like working with, because you were a Dudley guy.
Yeah.
So you're the first Dudley guy I've had on here, so I want to hear what it's like training with them, because I've only heard what it's like training with Jay Lethal, so I'm excited to hear about that.
Yeah, I've trained with the Dudley Boyz for 1 year straight before I even had a match. That's how they are. It's the toughest thing I've ever been through in my life, and I appreciate it and enjoy it. I was trained by Bubba Ray, Dudley, Devon Dudley, Jay Rios, and John Cruz, and now the thing is, even though my training is from there, honestly, I was born in this business. I can honestly say that the moment I was in this business, at the moment I seen wrestling, I jumped around and I played around with my younger brother, which I have a younger brother who's... You have no idea. You're only getting an eighth of the story. You're only getting an eighth, not even half, an eighth of the story. I'm the child of the eighth day, no pun intended. But, and that's what it is. The training was, they just polished me. They polished me. I grew up in New York City, in the underground of New York City, and that's what we did. We wrestled, and we wrestled on playgrounds, concrete and grass. So I'm from this, and it was great training though. It was tough, like the hardest thing. I would, and that's my way to see if you're a real wrestling fan. I would tell you not to go there. A real wrestler, not go there because it's too hard. But if you can get out of there, then you deserve to be there. You deserve to have that. It's tough, and I hate them and love them for that.
Yeah, I've heard it's very intense, especially their cardio workouts. And you mentioned Jay and John. They're both good brothers. I love John Cruz to death. So, and then you talk about growing up. You're super athletic in that ring. Did you play any sports growing up? Like what? How'd you get that athletic, man?
Everything. When I was, I love wrestling first and foremost, so I just love to throw my body around. That was the thing. I was a kid. I was always playing around, and I would just jump on the floor. So the pain kind of thrills me, but I played every sport. Basketball, I played that in high school, and I played that in junior high school. Football, I BMX, skateboard, I do parkour, which is kind of where everything comes from. I think like BMXing also helped me with the athleticism in regards to being in the air and not afraid to fly.
Okay, so now we got your background on that, and you talk about wrestling being your love first and foremost. What got you into wrestling? Who made you a fan? And what made you really want to get into this business?
It's funny, I was talking to some of my good brothers today, and the first person actually that captivated me, I was a young boy, was Ultimate Warrior, because he ran. And I was like, that's just how old school it was. Like, running was a big thing. That was considered not high fly, but that was speed, just to run into the ring with the music. And then I fell in love with Macho Man Randy Savage, then Shawn Michaels. I saw professional wrestling as a platform to showcase your abilities and your talents and your gifts. And like I said, I'm gifted. And why wouldn't I come here and show people what I do? I do so many different things. And when I plan to change the world, I don't just mean by my athletic abilities. Wrestling has everything. I can incorporate music. I can incorporate fashion. I can incorporate speaking. I can incorporate, like the young ladies, they see me. Come on, you can't deny me. I'm Saieve Al Sabah. You know what I mean? But professional wrestling it drew me to it. I never understood how someone didn't like it. That's kind of how I came about. Like, how do you not like wrestling? Do you not see this? There's money to be made, and professional wrestling has influenced me in a lot of ways. I'm listening to music I probably wouldn't have listened to. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Even though it's like diverse at the same time, everybody grows up in a certain type of community, and professional wrestling opened my eyes, and I love it.
So, Brooklyn, New York, Notorious B.I.G. guy?
Absolutely.
See, I like Tupac a little bit more.
I mean, you could like both, but I mean, you gotta understand, Tupac Shakur, I'm not gonna get into it, but Tupac Shakur was influenced from very rotten people, and that's well documented. So you can like someone for their music, but understand he was going for a mission, and was that mission, was it fulfilled? No, it was self-destruction for himself.
Absolutely, and that's a conversation me and you can sit down and have at another time. But let's talk about your character, your gimmick, and the revolution itself. What has inspired that? Like, we talked about it earlier, not being the race thing, which, dude, I just love you on the mic. It's so good, and it's so fresh, because like it's like Enzo Amore status, you're just that damn good, you captivate everybody. So what inspired your gimmick, and what inspired the revolution?
You just disrespected me. Enzo Amore, he's a culture vulture. He's like Elvis of professional wrestling. Also John Cena, but neither here nor there. But in that regards, it's not a gimmick. Honestly, people might say, "Oh, well, it might be like when I'm out there and I may be a little bit more into myself." I think I'm more who I am when I'm out there than over here, because I waited for a platform my entire life. I am self-educated and educated. You know what I mean? I went to college and I got my degree, and I'm also educating myself not to be a sheep. So this is not a character. I'm more myself as this polarizing figure that refuses to be unapologetic. I refuse to not stand. I've been told so many times, don't do it. People are going to think about race. That's their problem. I don't care. So it's not a character. It's just living in a world I'm angry. I am angry, and no one wants to listen to me. And I've tried being humble, and when I speak, I don't get, but when I'm angry, for some reason, I get anything I want. So I will be angry, and I will be unapologetic. And if I am more gifted than people, I don't care how long you've been doing something. I don't care if you're talking about anything else. I have it, and no one needs to tell me that. I don't need any validation. I don't need it. I'll never go to WWE. I'll say that right here, right now. I'll never go to WWE, because if I go there, I'll turn the WWE into WW3. That's World War III, baby. It will be over for them, so I'll be here, and I will change the world. This is not a gimmick. I am who I am.
I know you said you don't need that validation, but man, I've told you before, you do have it. You have that something special, man, and I can tell that it's just you cranked up to 11, which I've talked about this before on episodes. Chris Jericho said it before. The best characters, the best gimmicks, the best wrestlers are just themselves cranked up to 11. So I commend you on just being yourself and, not backing down to those people who told you no.
Thank you.
So it seems like ACW needs you for some other things. You just want to say some last-minute things, plug your social media, do whatever.
First and foremost, thank you for having me on this, and I appreciate you for doing this. And this is what it's all about. I'm happy that, we're not children, but we are young minds. And if I inspired you and you're inspiring me, and you told me to do this, I'm doing this. Let's go do this right now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. It's about us changing the world. And changing the world doesn't mean you got to be a politician. Doesn't mean you got to be a pastor. Doesn't mean you got to be a professional wrestler. Whatever you are good at. I tell kids all the time, this is what I use professional wrestling for. It's my platform to talk to kids. And I tell them, you like Power Rangers? I'm not saying you can't be a Power Ranger. I don't know what's really going on in the world. Some people might really be Power Rangers.
That's true. Comic-Con's a big thing.
Right, you might be that, but then you can also be the guy that designs for the Power Rangers, directs, writes. You can do anything in the world that you want to do and change it. People tell people, imagine the idea of some guy saying, I want to make a movie. Like, people out here need to eat, and you're sitting here and you're writing books, creating this thing to record. People write movies so you can influence them and change the world, but it's done, and we do that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I just tell everybody, my final thought is change the world and and believe in yourself, because when people change you, they'll be like, oh, look at you, you were lying the whole time, you were fake. And I don't want to lie to anybody. I came here to change the world, and I can assure you that I will, and that we will, and the world is ours, and it's ours to lose too. So
Absolutely, man. And thank you for coming on. And I just want to say that part you're talking about, inspiring people and having wrestling be your platform, man. I met Kurt Angle about a year and a half ago, and I got to sit down with him for 5 minutes one-on-one and just talk with him. And that's what he said to me, about him wrestling. Like, God put him on this earth not to be a good wrestler, but to share his story because of wrestling. He got his name out there because of wrestling and was able to, affect so many people's lives. And, like I said before, I commend you for being you and, changing the world, because you are. And it's not a gimmick. It's actually you. You're actually trying to change the world, and you're going to. And like I said, man, thank you for coming on. It's been a blast.
Thank you. And you always have the vape for me every show, and I want to shout that out, because I don't know if we're supposed to, vape, but I don't give a damn. I like it. And thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll continue to do this, man. I want to come back on this show. And
absolutely, man. We got to have that Tupac conversation, and we
Uh-huh.
got to talk sports and everything else.
Absolutely.
So,
and the Redskins, Junior Gillette, shout out.
Shit. Redskins. Fly, Eagles, fly. All right, guys. That was Saieve Al Sabah, and he's an incredible wrestler, and more so than that, he is an incredible human being, and it was an honor to have him on this podcast, and I'm going to have him on again real soon. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Saieve Al Sabah. I love that man to death. Like, you guys don't understand. Every time we see each other at shows, it's just happiness and friendship. Like, it's been like that right off the rip. And, that's that connection that I love in wrestling. And, you find these genuine people and you create things together. I create this podcast. He creates in the ring on that mat. And he's an absolute artist in that ring and an absolute artist on the mic. And I commend you, Saieve, for everything that you're doing, not only in the wrestling ring, but with these young minds. You are one of a kind, one of a million, and we need more people like you in this business, hands down. I just want to say thank you, you guys, for tuning in and listening. The podcast is growing. We're doing more and more. I've got an idea coming. I might do every other week on Fridays release a discussion instead of it being regular interview style episode. Fridays will be a discussion topic. Like I could discuss the addiction like I did earlier. I'll discuss sports, and I'll do that every other Friday. And hopefully, eventually, I can get people to come over the house, or at a show we'll do a roundtable type discussion, maybe even live feed it sometimes, but I want to turn it into a roundtable discussion, half hours, a little segment every other Friday on random topics. So let me know if that's something you're interested in hearing, and if you're interested in being a part of that. So again, thank you to Saieve Al Sabah for his incredible interview and for being just an amazing, genuine person. And Saieve, I cannot wait to get you back here on the podcast again, and we can talk about Tupac, we can talk about music in general, we can talk about movies, whatever, man. It like I said, you're just always fun to be around. Every time we see each other, it's fun, and we absolutely have a blast. So thank you, guys. Keep tuning in, keep listening. I will keep you up to date on the Crash Pad Facebook page, as well as on my personal page about things that are coming up for the Crash Pad and Tyler Crash himself. I'd like to thank GoWrestle.com. I'd like to thank Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling, ACW, WWN, Go Wrestle, the promotion, so many others, just amazing photographers that take these promo shots that I use in these slideshows. My good buddy Zuzu for making that awesome bumper, and all my guests, past, present, and future. Thank you guys. You guys make the show, and the fans that listen, that you guys reach out to and say, hey, listen to this podcast, I'm on it. You guys make the show. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you keep tuning in. I'll catch you down the road.